So what is going on, guys? My name is Stu, and today we're going to be talking about dreams, I guess. So I got 3 dream stories to share with y'all. So the first dream takes place in my old house, right? I'm in the laundry room, and I'm just sitting in a pot in like the fetal position or whatever, in like a giant in a giant pot. And there's kind of a lot of snakes all over the floor, as well as like a small sledgehammer in front of me. And so one of the snakes comes out to try and bite me, but I kind of just grab it and hold its head shut by putting my thumb on its jaw and like my index finger on like top of its head, just so it won't bite. Still like whipped around, all that, trying to hit me and all that, but it didn't really do anything to me. I prematurely threw the snake behind my back, it hitting the wall and all that. So then there was like these 3 like really big snakes right in front of me, right? And there was a small little saucepan in front of me. So I'm kind of just like sitting there, like thinking, like, what on earth do I do? Just going from here, right? And so I figured my solution was to crawl out of the pot, right? And then gently place my feet into the tiny little saucepan that is just placed right in front of me. And I like take the sledgehammer and I kind of like lift myself in it, right? And so my feet are like crushed together, right? Like, yeah, my toes are just kind of bent upwards. I'm on my heels. Like, my heels are kind of just on the rim, as if just how tight it is. And so I'm kind of just squatting in the little saucepan. I'm just kind of thinking, like, well, what the hell do I do from here? Because this is clearly not gonna work out for me at all, actually. I'm just squatting in a saucepan. And so I kind of have this like vision or whatever of where I'm like gonna pounce the giant snake in front of me. I'm gonna like jump out of the saucepan with the sledgehammer and just start slamming it or whatever for no reason, really. And it went horribly well, or it went horribly wrong, I should say, because in the vision I was kind of like leaping out of the saucepan and just trying to hit the snake, but like since the damn thing is so big, I could like wrap both my arms around it. So it kind of just whips back and bites me in the shoulder, and then well, that's kind of that. But this was just a vision, so it didn't really matter, all things considered. And so I just ended up not doing that. Instead, I decided that I should like inch my way towards the stairs. So like you're deep in the laundry room. The stairs was kind of at like the intersection between the outside of the basement, the stairs to the kitchen, and then like the laundry room. And so like I have one hand directly on the handle of the saucepan, and then I also have the sledgehammer in another, and I'm just like trying to like getting over it style, like scooting my way towards the stairs. And then I kind of do this for like felt like a millennium, and then I reach the bottom of the stairs, and I wake up, and that's just kind of it, right? So my next dream is like I'm kind of going to like an apartment for a friend's house. It's like this super small like apartment, and so we go up into the door, and then the door is just like a door to an elevator, and it doesn't open like how normal elevators do. They're like the 2 doors pull back. It's like a normal front door, but there's just like this really old elevator. So we crawl into the elevator, and then, you know, we just go up it, but, you know, for some reason the elevator is just like really rocky, you know. It's kind of jittery, and then it just starts like spinning and stuff, or just tumbling. So now, after getting like essentially a head concussion or whatever, we have finally made it to their room, or the room they were stayed at. And so we have to walk up a set of stairs, because as if we didn't go high enough already to get to their room. And, you know, when you know it, Stuart with his 2 left feet decides that I need to trip over my own feet. So I ended up tripping over my feet, right? And I kind of just my chin just hits the dresser that was just kind of like placed right in front of the stairs. And the thing is, there was like this urn on top of the dresser, and it just falls. And then, like, you know, the urn smashes open, but like, it wasn't full of ashes of the deceased or anything. It was like full of white rice. And you know, it doesn't sound that bad till you realize that the white rice starts wiggling, and I'm like terrified of this. So I like crawl onto the dresser, and I just start screaming. Like just screaming my head off, because I'm just so scared of the wiggling rice. And then my friend is like, you know, they went up before me, and they're kind of like peeking out of the doorway. Like that's to the left of me, and they're like, they just have this look, and they give this sigh, like, seriously, I just let this person in my house. They like trip over their own 2 feet. They break their jaw on the dresser. they knock over my urn of the white rice. And now they're just screaming on top of the dresser, like, just, I need better friends, basically. And yeah. So then, you know, I kind of have to explain myself, like, why the hell was I screaming? Well, maybe it's because I saw that the rice was moving. No, instead, I'm gonna tell this story of, like, these Spanish conquistadors when they were entering in, like, modern-day Venezuela, where there's this, like, giant maggot-looking thing in, like, one of the lakes, whatever, and one of the conquistadors, like, gets bitten by it. So the way that, like, this giant maggot thing just breeds is that it injects its babies into, like, under the skin of any sort of animal, really. And the reason for this is that the babies, when they're born, they need a lot of iron for some reason. And, you know, blood kind of has a bit of iron, so they kind of just feed on that. And the thing is that conquistador that got bit, like, they just don't even treat him or whatever. They just kind of just go to sleep. And wake up the next day, and, like, the conquistador is literally just skin and bone, because apparently the maggot babies ate all of his blood. Not only that, but there was only, like, 5, like, somewhat big dudes left, because of the fact that some of the maggots will, like, cut open their, you know, brothers and sisters and all that to take the blood from them. So it's like, just, you know, how sharks, before they're born, they kind of just, you know, fight and eat each other. But it's kind of like a similar situation, only that it's, like, just in every way messed up. And so they're kind of just like, oh, understandable. And then kind of just, I think there was something that happened afterwards. I think I did something in the room, or at least I entered it. But I don't exactly remember what I did afterwards. And so, for our final dream is that this was one where I was actually cackling in real life. And this is the only time I can recall where I was like just, kind of laughing in my sleep. And yeah. So it starts out with the dream's premise of me like having powers or whatever. So I have powers to both freeze time and to read minds. And so, what I do is I go around closing doors on people before they enter in rooms and all that. So they kind of just run into doors, and I can read their minds, going like, I swear to God, I just opened this door like a minute ago, and just see them devolve into madness. That's how I vaguely remember, but I remember this exact incident vividly. Is that there was this kid, right? I wouldn't say kid, looked way older than me. Perfectly combed hair. He had a violin case sling to his back and all that. And he had a tuxedo on or whatever, with khaki pants or whatever. And in between his index finger and thumb, there was a grape flavored Dum Dum lollipop that he held right in front of his waist. It was so weird. And so every time he came to take a look, he just lifted his entire arm all the way up to his mouth, sticks out his tongue, just grinds this thing against his tongue, and he just kind of curls his tongue and all that, trying to have all of his taste buds simultaneously, just trying to taste all of the entire lollipop in one lick. It was kind of bizarre. So I figured it would be a funny idea to take the Dum Dum out of his hand, right? And and I follow through with the plan. And now I can read his mind, thinking, where did my sucker go? And and he's just having an internal breakdown and all that. I can see him just looking on both the palms of his hands, oh, surely I had it in one hand somewhere. He's digging around his pockets. I deadass put the lollipop in my mouth. And he's just devolving to madness. He checks the little pocket on his tuxedo, and he's digging in between the buttons of his tuxedo and all that, and I'm laughing in my dream, and apparently I was just cackling in real life. I was cackling so hard that I woke up to my dad screaming my name, telling me to get my fucking ass to bed. And I wake up, I'm just in petrification. I'm trying to say a word, and it just comes out just total fear. And I try and go back to sleep, and it's I was was I really laughing in my sleep? It was now I'm thinking do I go back to sleep knowing that I was just laughing my ass off just just a second before? And so I kind of just don't sleep for a while until I'm completely calmed down. I try and forget about the incident, but I'm still sort of giggling And I was like 12 years old at the time, which is, just kind of primitive humor and all that. And so, like, I'm eating breakfast the next morning. My dad's like, I heard you on the laptop laughing so loudly. And it's like, how do you explain to your dad that, like, what he had heard was not me on, like, any sort of electronic device? It was just me just cackling in my sleep because I had a really funny dream. And, like, so I kind of just, like, he's like, were you on the laptop last night? I'm like, yes. Because, like, how on earth are you going to explain that? I think there'd be like a higher chance of me, like, talking my way out of something like, oh, like, I don't know, I'm getting a dull website open and just me, like, staring blankly at it. It's just like, oh, there was a virus. Like, I could at least make a better argument to get myself out of that situation, as opposed to that. Like, how do I'm just still like, how on earth would you just say, like, oh, it wasn't me on the laptop, it was just me, giggling because the dream is really funny. Like, looking back on it, it really wasn't that funny, but for some reason, like, the situation is funny, but, context itself was not. And, I've never, to my knowledge, laughed in my sleep like that again. And, I'm just imagining, like, I'm just at a sleepover and I just have this dream again. And, just the people I'm having a sleepover with, like, are just shaking me awake. Stuart, you are possessed by the devil! And I'm just waking up like, huh? No, I'm not possessed by any demon. No, I'm just having a really funny dream where I stole some dude's sucker. And, I guess that's, like, the end of I'd say, like, the first episode of, like, Dream Journal and all that. I'm planning on making more in the future, but, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye.